Alright guys, so just got finished with this final ride here. I got 50 miles on it. I think I got a pretty good idea about what this thing's all about now. I've taken it on almost every type of terrain, just like gravel, big rocks, hard packed dirt, sand. The first time I took it out, it was super muddy, so I took it on mud. And I've done a lot of street riding too. Just the initial test was on the street, and then I've been taking it like on the road to get to some of the trails, around here. So I think I got a pretty good idea about it. So far, I'm actually really impressed with it. The acceleration's really, really good. It's honestly better than I expected. And a lot of things are actually better than expected. A few things a little worse, but this seat's not as bad as I thought. I think, like in the other video, I said that I think these were upgraded a little bit. You can see that the seat's actually different than the old ones. A little more cushiony. It's still pretty uncomfortable. By the time the battery's dead, my ass is hurting, but, I'm a fat dude, so that's going to happen on a lot of things. It also happens on my dirt bikes and stuff, but yeah, I would like to get a little bit more padding on there, but it's not too bad. I thought it was going to be worse. I got to say the same about the tires, too. For street use, obviously they're going to be pretty shitty, but no joke. When I first started riding, they were super bad. They were just sliding, I put on the brakes and they would skid out and stuff. But once these little nubs wore down and it got down into the actual rubber, they're actually pretty decent. Like, I'm not having any trouble with them. And, I ride the supermoto and the dirt bike, so, I have experience. And, I'm actually pretty impressed, with all the shit talking online. I thought these were just going to be like crazy junk, but they handle everything pretty well, honestly. The mud, I was surprised how well it handled mud. It took me up super steep hills in the mud, my fat ass, without slipping. Like, I was pretty impressed, honestly. Right now, I just got back from some sand. It is pretty squirrely in sand, but it's honestly not that bad. It's not too much worse than my dirt bike is in sand, honestly. So yeah, these are actually decent tires. I mean, if I were to get new tires, I would probably get better tires, but I'm definitely going to rock these till they're gone, for sure. The only bad thing about these, really, I mean, there's nothing great about these tires. They do the job, is what I'm saying. But there's one thing that's bad about them, and that is the fact that they wear down super quick. Like, I've been trying not to ride too much on the street, but this is really far down compared to that. I don't know if you can see, but... And then these are just, like, worn off in only 50 miles. This is like half, maybe less than half of what it came with, so... these are 100-mile tires, and they're donezo. So that's kind of the shitty thing about them, really. Also, the fork's a little wonky. It does its job too, but that spring, the spring side, is actually pretty noisy. I can hear that spring compressing, which is a little concerning. Sounds a little cheapy. Also, something that I'm pretty impressed with are the brakes. That is another thing I heard just so much shit talking about. Everyone, and the first thing, the brakes suck. I think they might have upgraded the brakes though from the old ones. I know that these little fluid windows are different, and the brake calipers used to be black, and now they're kind of silver. But honestly, once these broke in, I have had no squeaks from them, and they stop great. As you know, I'm a big dude, so it takes a lot of pressure to stop me. And this thing stops amazingly. I mean, it'll lock up the back tire, no problem. I don't know if they're getting too hot, but I'm going to leave it just like this. I might upgrade the pads later on once they go away. Maybe if I find out that I'm burning the pads, I might upgrade the front rotor. But honestly, they do the fucking job, for real. And I took off the limiter, so, at 50 miles an hour, they'll still stop me real quick. So, that's a pretty good thing. These are kind of moving on me, the grips, but you can't really feel it, when you're riding, because they're still pretty stuck on there. But, every time I ride, this waffle part is on a different side of the handlebars, so there's definitely some movement going on in there. But no big deal. But yeah, the bike's been handling great. thought the suspension was going to be pretty crappy, but you know, it's been handling me pretty well. I've been gone over some pretty hardcore bumps and stuff, and it feels great. Stiffened up the rear shock for me. Feels really, really nice. When I first got it, it felt real sloppy in the rear end. Just turned up the compression like real high. Turned up the rebound a little bit. Now it feels really nice to me. The only thing I gotta say is the battery. I just wish it was a little longer, you know? And I mean, I got to give it the benefit of the doubt. You know, I'm a fat dude. Honestly, I probably weigh over the load limit on this thing. But so I mean, I'm not blaming it. You know, I'm probably using up a ton of this electricity, just hauling my fat ass around. I just wish it was longer. You know, every single time I'm out, I look down at the battery meter and I'm just wishing I had more. You know, I just feel like it goes too fast. If I could just have like double the battery capacity, this would be like the most perfect machine on earth. But I think we're a few years away from that in this size. Yeah, everything is really, really great. This little fender and this thing pretty much stop all the mud. As you can see, it's pretty clean in there. I have not cleaned it, and I went through super crazy mud. This was really caked. A lot of it's fallen off since I've ridden. This, what people say is true. This needs to be a little bit longer because this was flinging mud up at my back. If it just went out to like here, that would be really nice. Also, I'm not sure if the regen braking's working on this. I think it might be a problem. It feels real, real coasty, okay? But there is some resistance, but I can't tell if it's just the motor or what. It definitely is not as strong as other regions brakings I've felt, or even like engine braking and stuff. Like that's way more hardcore than this. It just feels real coasty. And also, I heard that the EP mode was coast, and then the sport mode had a regen, but both of these feel exactly the same, which is the reason it has me second guessing it. So unless the 2020 model is like upgraded and the EP mode also has regen braking, then I'm pretty sure the regen's not working on this. So I'm going to put in a ticket with Luna and see what's up. But yeah, we'll see. It's not really a big deal for me because I like the way it feels right now. So it's not really up on my priority list. But yeah, all in all, really, really, really awesome bike. I can kind of foresee that I'm going to have to change the forks in the future. But if I wasn't so fat, I probably wouldn't because they don't feel too bad, honestly. Gonna have to get a new rear fender. I can also tell that rear wheel is going super quick, so I'm gonna have to get a new rear tire. And that's about it. I mean, eventually I'm gonna want to get a long range battery, but that's gonna be years in the future. So, I mean, I am honestly impressed. I'm totally impressed. I did the the de-restrict mod in here, and honestly, I had a little trouble with it. There was a loop in here, and then all the DIYs and stuff, it's just like, oh, it's like right here, you may have to cut a little bit, but it was like double loop, so I had to cut all the way back in here, all the way back to like the circuit breaker to find the loop. And I totally thought like it wasn't in there, and I had to like ask questions. I went on a forum and stuff and asked questions. But yeah, I got some information, and I ended up just cutting this whole thing off to get the loop, snipped that wire, and now it's unrestricted. It was going like 31 miles an hour from the factory, which is a little weird because they said it would only go like 21. But yeah, it stopped at 31. But now with the restrictor off, this thing takes my fat ass up to 49, supposedly, whatever that says. I hear that is a little quick. But yeah, I get up to 50 on this bad boy, almost, If it's like a super flat, little bit downhill, I get 50. But normally, I pretty much top out at like 48. So this thing's taking my fat ass up to 48 miles an hour. So I am pretty impressed. And the acceleration is really nice. I always hear people comparing them to like 50 cc's and stuff. This is much, much better than 50 cc, even better than 100 cc. I would say it's like a 125 4-stroke, not the 2-stroke, but like it really gets me going, 125 cc, I would say, is pretty accurate 4-stroke. That's what this feels like to me. So yeah, that's it.